first two episodes on bushcraft knife techniques, I discussed how to do more of the hard working techniques, the chest lever grip and your kneecap hold, the stuff that you're going to get the heavy lifting done. Now, this episode's all about fine carving. And when we're talking about fine carving, we're talking about push cuts and stop cuts. So to demonstrate this, I'm going to make a simple pot hook and show you how these techniques work together. To start, I'm going to put in a stop cut, and a stop cut does exactly what it sounds like. It stops the push cut from going farther than we want. And to make a stop cut in wood, avoid the tendency to want to slice in like this, like you're cutting a vegetable in your kitchen or sawing. It doesn't really work that way with a knife into wood. What we want to do instead is rock back and forth like this, putting pressure down, just straight down, rocking back and forth. If you have a baton, this is a good time to use a baton. But I don't right now, so I'm just going to do this simply by, again, pushing down and rocking back and forth. And I'm putting in an X cut to start this pot hook technique. Right? And it looks like that. From here, I'm going to switch to push cuts. And push cuts work like this. The power comes from the thumb that's not holding the knife. Probably 70% of the power is going to come from my left thumb, about 30% from my right hand. And in this case, I do put my thumb on the spine sometimes. Don't always have to. Sometimes I'll use a chest lever grip, and I will push just with my left thumb like this. That's for more shallow cuts. If I'm going deeper, then I'll switch like this and I'll put my thumb on the spine, and that way I can go a little bit more into the wood like that. But regardless, most of the power is still coming from that left thumb. And when I get to the bottom of my stop cuts, where the wood's not coming off anymore, I'll go ahead and put in some deeper ones, and that will let that wood come off. And basically, you're just going to go back and forth, stop cuts and push cuts until it's as deep as you want. The last step in making my pot hook is I want to deepen out this hook a little bit more, so that way it holds the bail a little bit more firmly. And to do that, same thing, push cuts. I'm going to be using this thumb to drive in the tip underneath that hook, and once I drive it in as far as I can, I rotate the knife a little bit and then pull backwards. And that will bring the wood out. Just be careful, you don't want to slice through your whole pot hook there and lose all the work that you've done. The last step is just cleaning up everything a little bit so that it looks the way you want. And there is the pot hook. One last little tip I want to mention in terms of fine carving is how you actually set up your knife. Now, most people like to have the spines of their knife with really hard edges on the sides, and this is because, I guess, for scraping bark or using a fire steel. And so that's how we leave our knives, because that's, again, how most of our customers like it. Personally, I don't. I prefer to have a rounded spine up until about the last inch or so towards the point. And the reason is because when I'm doing this fine carving, it doesn't tear up my thumbs. Even with gloves on, you'll find that if you're doing a lot of carving work, those hard edges will even start to wear through the leather of your gloves. So if I leave just this part sharp, that still lets me do the fire steel technique that I personally like, where I use the same techniques as I just described with the push cuts, where I use my thumbs like this on the back, and using the about that last inch or so, that's the part I scrape my fire steel with. I don't do this technique that a lot of people seem to like, which is holding back here and pulling the fire steel. I'll do a demonstration in another video, but you can see that how I do that. It's the cover of my book even. we have a lot of fire danger right now. In fact, there's a lot of smoke in the air from fires going on around us, so I don't really want to do something like that today. But just something to think about. If you do want to round out your spine, very easy to do. Just take a small sharpening stone and just break that edge. And again, I'm going to leave that last inch or so by the tip of the blade. But this part where my thumbs are going to be pushing, I'm just going to break that edge, round it off a little bit. Your thumbs will thank you. Well, that does it for today. Thanks again for watching. In the next episode, I'm going to demonstrate how to split a stick lengthwise to make withies. Very common injury that doesn't need to be a risky task if you do it the right way. In the meantime, visit us at bushcraftnorthwest.com. You can check out products, course schedule, my book, things like that. And I will see you soon.